बड़ी बात इस टेम्पलेट को
Hello and welcome viewers, I am Pia and you're watching NewsX World. Let's take a look at the top headlines this hour. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar has suggested that European countries could establish a Palestinian state on their own territory. This comes as the UK, France and Belgium reaffirm their support for state recognition ahead of the United Nations General Assembly. Former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been ordered to serve a one-year jail term. He has accepted the court's verdict and has expressed gratitude to the Thai king for his reduced sentence. He has further vowed to continue serving the nation, monarchy and people with unwavering dedication. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has expressed deep sympathy over the detention of hundreds of South Korean workers in Georgia, calling it a heavy responsibility. Meanwhile, Seoul has dispatched its envoy to Washington to push for their prompt release. Chinese President Xi Jinping has met Portuguese Prime Minister, expressing willingness to strengthen strategic communication and cooperation on safeguarding the global free trade system. Portugal, meanwhile, has urged Xi Jinping to leverage China's close ties with Russia to push for peace in Ukraine. The Democratic Party has released a letter that was allegedly penned by Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Trump has denied doing so and has called the report false and defamatory. He has filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. The U.S. Supreme Court has backed U.S. President Donald Trump's hardline immigration policy, allowing raids in Southern California based on race, ethnicity or language. The ruling, criticized by liberals and California Governor Gavin Newsom, clears the way for escalated deportation operations amid ongoing legal challenges. French Prime Minister Francois Bayrou has lost his confidence vote in the parliament amid warnings of life-threatening national debt. This deepens the political crisis in France and hands President Emmanuel Macron the task of appointing the country's fifth Prime Minister in under 2 years. Donald Trump's trade advisor Peter Navarro has taken yet another sharp jibe at India, ridiculing its social media influence while questioning the stability of the BRICS alliance. He has pointed to the India-China rivalry, Pakistan's nukes and growing Chinese naval presence in the Indian Ocean as major fault lines. Alright viewers, those were the headlines in our top focus news coming in from South Korea. We're learning that South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has stated that he feels a heavy sense of responsibility over the detention of South Korean workers in Georgia. He has offered his deepest sympathy for the same. He made these remarks as a cabinet meeting was held after more than 300 South Koreans have been taken into custody at a detention center following a recent raid by the U.S. immigration authorities at an electric battery plant construction site by Hyundai Motor Group and LG Energy Solutions. Now, the South Korean president has stated that the detained citizens are expected to return soon and has expressed hope that no unfair infringements on the activities of South Korean citizens will occur in the future. This all comes as a chartered plane is expected to bring back the detainees as soon as negotiations to release them have concluded. South Korean Consul General in Washington, Cho Ki-jung, had also previously confirmed on the 7th of September that the workers are likely to board today. With us on the broadcast is Dr. Sanjay Kumar. He's a journalist at the Korea Herald, joining us live from Seoul. Thank you so much for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX World. We've, of course, seen the furor that has taken place amongst netizens in South Korea over the last couple of days, ever since these detentions had occurred. The Korean government has been working on a war footing, practically speaking to their counterparts in Washington. Now we're learning that a chartered plane is expected to bring back the detainees as soon as negotiations will conclude. The plane is in fact expected to depart from the United States today. What is the reaction of the people on the ground as to what all has transpired over the last couple of days?
The backlash among industry sources, among the people, as well as opposition and the ruling party itself, the backlash is ongoing. This is the clear-cut situation right now. But as you mentioned that a flight in is in pipeline to go there. The Korean Air is planning. This is what we have heard through various sources, that Korean Air with 747-8I airplane, they are going to land in Atlanta and bring back those detainees. But the president of South Korea is not just sympathetic to people. He wants to learn a lesson so that this kind of action must not be repeated again in future. And that is why he is suggesting to institutionalize some frameworks through which such visa quarter or the relevant visas can be swiftly allocated to Korean experts and those who are going to take part in the shipbuilding, which is to be in execution in after few months. It is in pipeline, and also there's a battery, and there are different sectors in which Korean companies are involved. And there are some issues here related to some legal procedures and the immigration procedures, because there were some news that some Homeland Security officials have raised once again concerns that they can be there can be criminal procedures. So ruling out such possibility, the Korean authorities here have confirmed that those detainees are not going to face any ban sort of thing. As you know, 5-year ban is also like those who have violated such immigration laws can be upheld for 5 years in prison, and or 5 years to a ban of 5 years to enter the US land. So such things should be exempted. This is the demand, as well as confirmation is coming out that South Korea has achieved such outcome.
Indeed, and I also wanted to understand from you, we're now also learning that Korean companies are seeking clearer B1 visa guidelines. We do know Donald Trump had earlier stated that even if Korean companies are investing in the United States of America, he is still looking out for the local Americans to be trained. But the companies at large, they look at their own profits. They look at bringing people from Korea to ensure that cheap labor along with maximum output is achieved, because the people are already trained. So how does the South Korean government then look at addressing these concerns as far as the B1 visa guidelines is concerned?
Not just cheap human resource, but outstanding human resource, and relevant experts have to be on ground to work and execute the projects that has been planned from the Korean companies. It includes Hyundai, LG Energy Solution, and there are others too in semiconductor, chip, and the new emerging industries. So from US perspective, they do need these expertise of Korean side. So for Korean companies, it is not just a market. They want a long-term presence there, and that is why to achieve that, they need Americans, but at the same time, they need relevant experts from South Korea who can go there, who can install the setups and production lines, and US needs that. Same is going to be applied in the shipbuilding sector also. US has been seeking support of Korean expertise because they want to make American shipbuilding great again, and they were seeking because they need Korean expertise. And it is applied not only to Korea, but it is applied to all the countries in the world. It's not just about cheap labor. You know, America belongs to all, and it is, when I say belongs to all, means belongs to relevant people with relevant exercise who can contribute somehow to US. And US was known, has been known as a global place, to a global workplace. And people have emerged there, people have achieved many things, and they have contributed. And it is a very multicultural issue. And right now, Korea is coming, but I'm sure in coming years, some other countries also can bring such kind of issue. And you have correctly pointed out that B1 visa specifications are needed. Actually, we discussed in the program before also that the bill was pending from 2012 about E2 visas, and H1B visa demands are also growing. So these aspects are going to be consulted. This is what the consular authorities in Korea is trying to put forth there, and that is why Foreign Minister is also there. So President has also instructed that make sure to make this issue resolved from long-term perspective, because these issues are going to be likely happen again.
Indeed, we have seen in the United States of America that there have been growing calls and hardline stances against immigration. So I would like to thank you for taking out time, speaking to us on NewsX World, and of course providing perspective as to what exactly is happening in Seoul at the moment. With that, we shift our focus towards Thailand, where we're now learning that Thailand's Supreme Court has ordered former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra to serve 1 year in jail, ruling that his detention in a hospital's VIP ward last year could not be counted as time served. It also highlighted that he was not seriously ill and had intentionally prolonged his stay. Now, outside the court, Thakshin's supporters gathered and expressed sadness and frustration over the verdict, but stated that they would still respect the decision. Take a look at what they had to say.
เราก็รู้สึกว่ามันไม่สบายใจครับผมเพราะว่าท่านทำดีมามากมายก่ายกองเลยยังจะมารับโทษอีกเราก็เลยไม่สบายใจเราอยากให้ความยุติธรรมแต่ก็เคารพศาลครับผม
ก็โอเคน้อมรับค่ะก็ภูมิใจที่ท่านนายกเข้าสู่กระบวนการยุติธรรมเป็นตัวอย่างที่ดีเราอยู่ในระบอบประชาธิปไตยค่ะก็ขอความเป็นธรรมให้ท่านค่ะก็เสียใจไหมก็เสียใจแต่ว่าเราภูมิใจที่เรามีท่านอดีตนายกของเราเป็นผู้กล้าและเดินเข้าตามกระบวนการค่ะเคารพการตัดสินของศาลค่ะเป็นกำลัง
ยังไงอยู่นะครับคนเสื้อแดงเขาก็คิดยังไงอยู่เพราะว่ามันมีอะไรเหมือนกับทะแม่งอยู่ครับแต่เราก็น้อมรับคำตัดสินนะครับ
Meanwhile, Thaksin Shinawatra has accepted the verdict and called it an honor to have his sentence reduced to 1 year. He's thanked the Thai royal family for the same. He's further added that he may have lost his freedom, but he still has the freedom of thought to serve the nation, the royal institution and the Thai people. Now, this court verdict comes just weeks after his daughter, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, was removed from the Prime Minister's office, marking yet another blow for the Shinawatra family that has dominated Thai politics for 2 decades. Remember, the Shinawatra political clan has been the key foe of Thailand's pro-military, pro-royalty elite, who view their populist brand as a threat to traditional social order. However, the dynasty's momentum is flagging after a litany of legal and political setbacks, most notably now with Paetongtarn Shinawatra's recent ouster. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Keith Vaz, a former minister from the United Kingdom, joining us live from London. Thank you for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX World. As I was mentioning earlier, the Shinawatra clan's power seems to be waning, especially with these recent court verdicts that have come to light. Thaksin Shinawatra has now been sentenced to jail for 1 year. His daughter Paetongtarn was ousted as the Prime Minister just late last month, and his sister Yingluck is already in exile. What, in your assessment, is next for the Shinawatra family as well as the Pheu Thai party at large?
Good morning, I think that it would be a mistake to believe that this particular family is down and out. Yes, it's true. The main man, Mr. Shinawatra, the former Prime Minister Thaksin, is going to have to go to jail for a year, as the court has decided. And it's true also that his daughter has been removed as Prime Minister. But in Thai politics, a year is a century in Thai politics. It will be something that they want to stay involved in, and therefore 1 year out of political dynasty is not going to make that much difference. So I think that they're going to take whatever verdict has been given to them, because they want to be seen to be respecting the law and the decisions of the judges. They have a great affection for the king, and this is a monarchy in Thailand. The king has huge amounts of power. So until you get to the situation, as you know, what exactly you've done to upset the king, as it currently stands, I think that they will do whatever is required by the law. If there was a general election tomorrow in Thailand, I'm quite sure Thaksin would win the election.
All right,
so they're very powerful.
So I request you to stay on with us. So we're tracking some breaking developments coming in from Nepal at the moment. We're now learning as violent protests are intensifying in Nepal. According to sources, Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned. This comes as demonstrators have reportedly torched the homes of President Ramchandra Podel and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Oli is reportedly seeking safe passage from his official residence in Baluwatar and has sought help to leave the country. But news coming in from sources at this point is that KP Sharma Oli has tendered his resignation. This is what sources are telling us. Reportedly, he may travel to Dubai under the pretext of medical treatment with a private flight on standby. Reports, of course, coming in that protesters have attacked the residence of Pushp Kamal Dahal, chairman of the Nepal Communist Party, and has also torched the Nepalese Congress Central Office as well. Helicopters, meanwhile, have been deployed to airlift ministers to safety as the situation continues to escalate. Moreover, the Kathmandu and Bhairava airports have been shut down and all flights have reportedly been cancelled. But big news coming in at the moment. We're now learning, according to sources, news coming in that Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned. Remember, we've been seeing these dramatic visuals of the last 24 hours. Protests were taking place, Gen Z-led protests against social media apps being banned. But they went out of control, they escalated, they turned violent. Several protesters had in fact stormed the Nepalese parliament building yesterday itself. Tear gas shells were used by the police, water cannons were also used by the police in order to disperse the crowd. But the protesters were injured, they were admitted to hospitals, and reports have also since come in that 19 people have lost their lives. You can clearly see in those visuals on your screens the sheer escalation that had taken place, and now as well protests are continuing to escalate as people are frustrated, and they've of course now come out in protest of the death toll that is mounting. But major news coming in. We are now learning that Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned. Joining us on the broadcast is Ms. Joyita Basu, Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian. Thank you for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX World. Big news coming in from Nepal at the moment. Sources have now told NewsX World that Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has tendered his resignation. Several other senior ministers have already resigned. What do you think is next for Nepal? Because clearly people are not going to sit back. They've made it very clear they're not going to sit back until and unless he's left the post.
Well, the thing is, you see, first of all, we have to look at it in the context of the whole of Nepal's political leadership and their political discredited. Because you see, I mean, all about how these children uh, when you're looking at Nepal, it's a very tiny country with almost no economic activity except for perhaps a bit of tourism. And so basically, Nepal is, there are no prospects, there is no hope, there is no, I mean, as you know, most of them, many of them actually, I would say, they come and work in India. And that also not in not in a major way. It's a country that is stuck in an, I would say, economic, cul-de-sac, where there is no movement forward. But at the same time, when all these leaders are there, their children, I mean, because of social media, we could see the kind of lavish lifestyles they have been, they have been leading lavish lifestyles. And once this videos and all became viral, Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, he went along to ban all these things. This registration, not registration, is just an excuse. The real reason was that they did not want to, these protests and all these videos to become viral. So obviously there was a lot of, and interestingly, the only social media platform that was not banned was TikTok, which means that of Nepal's government, KP has been claimed, has been fronting the Chinese in this thing. So obviously there was anger. You see, at the same time, even though Nepal does not have any really economic activity, does not have prosperity, is primarily a tourism-driven, and I said a rural agricultural-driven society. Very, when it comes to their sovereignty, they're very, very particular about it. If you, there was a lot of opposition even against India, because they were saying India is trying to control our policy. So in this case, China is trying to control their policy. Now, the only thing that we need to know is that some sort of a Nepal spring that is happening right now, whether there are any Western hands behind it. Because if that like it happened in Bangladesh, there also the threat of Chinese takeover got the Americans involved. We have to see whether the Americans are involved in this also or not, and what kind of influence are they seeing. And let's hope one thing, they do not, the powers like the US in particular, do not think that Nepal is a test case and we are now going to apply it to India and ensure a regime change and all. Because in that case, they are going to bite off more than they can chew, because India is neither Bangladesh nor Nepal, not even Pakistan, not definitely not Pakistan. So let us hope they do not, as I said, do not try to make too much.
All right, ma'am, I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking further updates from Nepal. We're now learning that around a dozen helicopters have taken off from the Bhaisapati ministerial quarters. They're heading towards the Tribhuvan International Airport as part of ongoing evacuations of government officials. Protesters are meanwhile using social media to call for disruptions at the airport, urging people to launch fireworks, fly drones and use laser lights in order to interfere with aircrafts. Now, aircrafts are facing difficulties landing. This includes the Himalayan Airlines Airbus A319, which was previously used by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli for a visit to Beijing. He's, of course, now tendering his resignation. Now, Indigo and Air India flights from Delhi are also waiting for landing clearance in Nepal. Only 2 flights have taken off recently from Kathmandu, a Thai Airways flight to Bangkok and a Chinese aircraft to Guangzhou. This is the latest that we are tracking on the broadcast that has come in. Fresh information, of course, as Ms. Joyita Basu was pointing out, that this dramatic escalation has taken place because of the ban and also because of the discontent that has been brewing as far as the posts that have been made by the children of several senior government officials who've been flaunting their lavish lifestyle on social media. You can clearly see the sheer intensity of the protests that have taken place since yesterday. Water cannons being fired, tear gas being fired, but Nonetheless, we're also now learning that the residence of former Nepalese Home Minister, who also tendered his resignation, Ramesh Lekhak, that has also been torched. Meanwhile, we're getting another update. It seems that NewsX World has now accessed the copy of the resignation that has been tendered by KP Sharma Oli. He has stated, and I am quoting, "Respected President, as I was appointed the Prime Minister on Ashad 31, 2079 under Article 76, Clause 2 of the Constitution of Nepal, considering the current unusual situation in the country for a constitutional and political outlet and to resolve the problems in line with the additional initiative of the House of Representatives, I hereby resign from the post of Prime Minister as per Article 77, Clause 1 of the Constitution with effect from today." This is exactly what he has written. And meanwhile, also with us on the broadcast is Alok Srivastav, a student from Janakpur in Nepal. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. I want to understand from you what exactly is going on the ground. We are now getting news that KP Sharma Oli has tendered his resignation. We've also accessed the letter. What is the reaction of the people on the ground, of the protesters especially? Kindly unmute yourself. We are unable to hear you.
Yes, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Actually, the protesters are... we have also heard that KP Sharma Oli has resigned from his post, but still the public is angry a lot because due to the death of the 20 students that occurred yesterday, still we have seen the images in social media that the house situated in Bhaktapur, KP Oli's house, has been burned. Many ministers have resigned. Many ministers' house have also been burned. The properties of many ministers, including KP Sharma Oli, has been vandalized by the protesters. And we are also listening that KP Oli he might flee up from this country.
Yes, and I also wanted to know that there was another letter that was in circulation where KP Sharma Oli had written that he'd called an all-party meeting at 6 p.m. this evening. Is there any clarity that you all have over this as well?
I haven't heard anything about the party meeting that has been organized by KP Oli, but I have heard about the party's meeting, the opposition party meeting that has been called up by the opposition leader of Maoist Center named Prachanda. But still many political parties are not willing to join the meeting which is going to be organized by the Prachanda and his party.
We'd also seen several ministers quit the KP Sharma Oli cabinet as well. The Home Minister had already put in his papers. We've also seen Agriculture Minister Ramnath Adhikari of the Nepalese Congress also quit. That is not all. Health Minister Pradeep Paudel had confirmed that he would be resigning as well, and Youth and Sports Minister Tejulal Chaudhary and Water Minister Pradeep Yadav has also stepped down. What is the reaction of the people on the ground? Are they feeling that their movement, the protests, have been effective in ensuring accountability from the people in power?
Yeah, the people are feeling that the protest is going good way. People are very happy due to the mass resignation. And you said that Adhikari, the Minister Adhikari, has already resigned. Pradeep Yadav, he is from my constituency area. He has also resigned. But many of them are resigning because of the fear that the protesters may not attack their houses, their property also. The politicians are saying that we are resigning to support the Gen Z generation. That's why they are resigning. They are saying us like this. But the reality is that they are afraid that if they won't resign, then the protesters will harm their households, their properties also. And there has been a mass resignation in Nepal. The cabinet has been dissolved totally. And there are also some news that there will be an interim government will be formed or the army will take over. We are listening that news in our local areas.
Okay, and what are your expectations and hope for a future administration?
Actually, we Nepalese have a very high expectations because we have faced a lot of movements in this short period of time. We have seen Madhesh movement, we have seen the Maoist movement, we have seen the anti-monarchist movement, and this movement which happened yesterday, 2025, the Gen Z movements. Actually, Nepal has seen many movements, but people were not happy because whoever comes, the main reason the corruption always increased. But this time, I think there will be something and hope for the best.
All right, I'd like to go back across to Ms. Joyita Basu, who is still with us on the broadcast. What, in your assessment, is likely to happen next? We've, of course, heard from Mr. Srivastav, who is currently in Janakpur in Nepal. He stated that there's a lot of murmur currently that there could be an interim government or the military might take over. What, in your assessment, is likely to take place next?
Well, we can't say. Sitting here in Delhi, we do not know what exactly is going on the ground. But listening to what the co-panelists said, that if there is a military takeover, well, I think there will be unhappiness around the world because you see, I mean, you are basically killing democracy. So whatever happens in Nepal, democracy must, prevail. There has to be, even if there is an interim government, whoever after that, there have to be elections, and it's the only Nepalese people who choosing. And Nepal, listen, I mean, Nepal deserves an independent policy out of the shadows of China, which I would say KP Sharma Oli was being accused of being kowtowing to China. So the thing is that, so he fleeing means that obviously China may have lost a card in it. And the thing is that, so I mean, it's only the people who will decide. Democracy is sacrosanct. And when it comes to it, it must prevail. I mean, whichever the interim government comes in, army should be a complete no-no. But if there is an interim government, I mean, it is the politicians, they will have to sit together and they have to decide what they want to do. And then they will have to go for elections.
Okay, I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking more updates. I believe we have the copy of the resignation letter. If we can flash that on our screens as well, I will read out the translation that the team upstairs has done. Yes, right here is the copy that you all can see. It has been penned by Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, who's now tendered his resignation, and I'm quoting what he's stated. Respected President, as I was appointed the Prime Minister on Ashad 31, 2079 under Article 76, Clause 2 of the Constitution of Nepal, considering the current unusual situation in the country for a constitutional and political outlet and to resolve the problems in line with the additional initiative of the House of Representatives, I hereby resign from the post of Prime Minister as per Article 77, Clause 1 of the Constitution with effect from today. Signed, KP Sharma Oli, Prime Minister of Nepal. That is exactly what he's written, and I've quoted. With us on the broadcast still is Mr. Alok Srivastav, joining us from Janakpur. What KP Sharma Oli has written is that he is looking to resign in order to resolve the problem. Is this enough, or what else is needed to be done to really win back the trust of the people that, as you've pointed out, has been eroded?
Yes, KP Oli has, in his resignation, he has also written that he's resigning because of the public will. First of all, he's seeing the situation, and then he said, according to situation, right now, I'm not able to, it would not be acceptable so that to continue as a prime minister. So that's why he's resigning. And as you said that interim government will be formed, I said, it is true that interim government will be formed or army will take over, but there will be elections for sure of that. As we all Nepalese, we support democracy. which don't support autocracy, and this only government has seen this yesterday incident. This was not a democracy, it was just like a autocracy, as 20 students were killed. And due to this, there has been, and the protest has been increasing day by day. Today also, many of the protest has been occurring in now remote areas also, not only the urban cities, but also in the remote cities. So people are demanding a good, fair in an election and after that, the total democracy and everything.
Indeed, I request you to stay on with us. We in fact have more updates coming in. We're now learning that protesters have in fact vandalized the Supreme Court of Nepal as well and the Attorney General's office, further escalating their action. You can clearly see that visual on your screen. That is the current state of the Parliament of Nepal. You can see people gathered outside in large numbers, a huge crowd right outside the Nepalese parliament, and the building is on fire. Smoke is billowing to the sky. Some rather dramatic visuals coming in from Kathmandu. Meanwhile, the Kathmandu and Bhairava airports have been closed is the latest information we are tracking. Also, with us on the broadcast is Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, former Indian diplomat, joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX World. Some high-octane developments coming in from Nepal. We were speaking earlier in the day, but since then, the escalation has been even more dramatic than what has occurred yesterday. The Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has tendered his resignation. Your first reaction to these developments?
Thank you. The situation seems to be extremely fluid, and it does not behove me of making any long-term or even short-term predictions. But going back to what I said about 3 hours ago, this is symptomatic of the great chasm that has existed between the Nepalese people and their ruling elite. The ruling elite has done all sort of musical chairs since 1951, when monarchy was re-established. Then first it was a partyless government, and then parties were brought in. Then the monarchy was abolished after massacre within the royal palace, and leading to constitution of 2013. Elections were held only 2 years ago, 2023, and the institutions that the new constitution established were did not get enough time and depth to acquire salience, acquire public credibility. And this is what is visible now. The disconnect between elite and the masses shows in many ways, including the recent banning of the social media. It should have, in retrospect, occurred to those in power, bringing such draconian legislation that 1/3 of Nepal's GDP comes from remittances by Nepalese outside Nepal, and the only way to connect with them is via social media such as WhatsApp and Facebook, etc. The Nepal is a mountainous country with logistics which are very challenged. So social media serves not only in place of the printed media, but also allows people to connect with each other. Sudden banning of such a powerful medium led to this kind of crisis, which also enveloped unemployment and corruption, as well as socio-economic disparities. So all put together, it had a perfect crisis in the making. And right now we are back to a situation where President Mr. Ramchandra Pudel has to decide what to do. One hopes that this, unlike similar situation in Bangladesh, this revolution will not be hijacked, and the popular wishes for which this agitation has taken place would see their aspirations fulfilled. Thank you.
Indeed, more news coming in. We're now, in fact, learning that Nepal's Finance Minister Bishnu Prasad Paudel has been, in fact, beaten up. Some shocking news coming in. This, of course, is taking place as fierce protests are continuing on the ground. Fresh news coming in even as the residence of several ministers have been torched by protesters. Nepalese Congress headquarters has also been set on fire. Even as we are speaking, the airports have been closed, and that is not all. Flights are in fact being negatively affected as well. People are talking about using lasers in order to disrupt flights. You can see those visuals on your screens. Fresh news coming in. Nepal's Finance Minister Bishnu Prasad Paudel has been beaten up. In fact, that is not all. We're also learning that the India-Nepal border at Panitanki is on high alert, especially as protests are continuing to rage. I'd like to go back across to Ms. Joyita Basu on this. India yesterday has stated that it is keeping a close eye on the developments that are taking place. How exactly, in your assessment, should the Indian government approach this? Because KP Sharma Oli is looking at exiting Nepal and flying away, most likely to Dubai. Ms. Joyita Basu is still with us? All right, fresh visuals coming in from Kathmandu. I believe there is a audio connectivity issue. We will try to get that sorted. But in the meantime, you can clearly see on your screens, people are celebrating, the protesters are celebrating, firecrackers being burst in Nepal, even as streamers as well. You can clearly see, even as they're gathered outside on the streets, they're crying out in joy, waving these streamers as well. Very, very elated on the ground. I'd like to go back across to Alok Srivastav, who's still with us on the broadcast. We are seeing fresh scenes from Nepal at the moment. People are rejoicing on the ground, absolutely jubilant, all smiles as they are now celebrating the news of the resignation of KP Sharma Oli.
Yes, ma'am. The protesters are very much happy now that the cabinet has been dissolved and KP Oli has resigned. And it's the main motive of this protest was to dissolve the parliament by anyhow. And I think that the protest might be finished now, and a new government will be formed, new leaders will be getting new opportunity. It's just like an opportunity for the new people to come on and support this revolution and make our country stable. As we all know that Nepal has never seen political stability from last 30 years, especially. There has been always a coalition government, and the people were fed up because of this coalition government they were joining hands together, they were fighting together, again joining hands. People were fed up. Now we want a stable government in our country. And I think the protest is this movement, the Gen Z movement is being succeeded, is seen as a success for the youth generation.
All right, I request you to stay on with us. Also with us on the broadcast is Mr. Adit Kothari, International Affairs expert. Thank you so much for waiting rather patiently. We've been tracking these developments, high-octane developments coming in from Nepal. Your first assessment of what's transpired over the last 24 hours and where, in your opinion, will Nepal be headed to next on the political front?
So, Pia, I think Ambassador Sachdev gave us a bit of an insight into the political history of Nepal and how sort of turbulent it has been. But just to give you a perspective, over the last 17 years, Nepal has seen over 14 governments. So 14 governments have basically ruled over the last 17 years. So that basically shows how chronically unstable Nepalese politics has been. And situations have always been quite poor. We saw in 2024 how KP Oli Sharma basically muscled his way into power. And, this power was only going to be staying for a limited number of years and a limited number of time. He's always ruled with an iron fist. So the government basically choosing to ban the 26 social media apps was the sort of spark that sort of ignited the grassroots protests. Which unfortunately did leave the 19 people dead and several people injured. But the social media ban was seen pretty much as an authoritarian overreach by the government, which sort of mobilized the rapid movement against the government. And we also need to look at the pro-monarchy protests that happened earlier this year in 2025. So, monarchy was basically sort of abolished in 2008. And a lot of people in Nepal were sort of disgruntled by it because they wanted the monarchy back, because the situation during the monarchy period were relatively better as opposed to, the Maoist governments and the coalition governments that Alok spoke about. And people have not been happy with these coalition governments in Nepal. But we've also got to take into account that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nepal have not ruled out foreign hand involvement to sort of stoke these protests. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs have basically called out, Pakistan linked terror outfit like the ISI, the LET, and the JEMs to be involved in sparking these protests. So that is something for India to remain circumspect about, that while we support grassroots movements, while we support grassroots revolutions against corrupt and inept governments, we shouldn't allow the fallout of this to basically impact India. So from an India-centric perspective, I think India needs to remain circumspect. India needs to manage its border much more vigilantly and ensure that any sort of fallout is mitigated from an Indian perspective. Pia.
All right. One last question from Mr. Alok Srivastava, who's still with us on the broadcast. Now that people around you are digesting this major development, what is the reaction like on your messaging groups, friends, families? What are they saying?
Can you please repeat? I was not able to hear the voice because due to network problem.
Mr. Srivastava, I was just asking, now that people have been digesting this information that has come in regarding KP Sharma Oli's resignation, how are people reacting on your messaging groups, whether it is friends, whether it is families? What are they saying at this time?
They are very happy that KP cabinet has resigned. They are very happy now, and they are looking for the future. What is going to happen in our country? The students are very much happy. The youths happy. The family member, everyone is happy because people were fed up of this communist government led by the KP Sharma Oli. They are happy, but looking for the future, well.
All right, with that, I would like to thank Ambassador Sachdev, Mr. Adit Kothari, Mr. Alok Srivastava, as well as Ms. Joyita Basu for taking out time speaking to us on NewsX World as we track these quick developments from Nepal. Of course, so much remains to be seen still, as now protesters are celebrating. With that, viewers, it's a wrap on this bulletin. More news and updates on the other side. Stay tuned on NewsX World.